When you don't feel like you have a direction in life, the first thing to pay attention to is, how do you create the confusion? Now you may go, what are you talking about, create? This is just how life is, but it isn't. Confusion is created in your head because you have certain ideas and images in your mind. You're comparing your internal world to the external. And you're seeing, okay, life is not going the way I want it to, or I don't have a certain feeling about life, which means I'm confused, I have no direction. And it becomes this pressure of, okay, I need a direction. And that assumption needs to be challenged, because who says we need a direction? And when we say we need a direction, usually we mean I need to be certain about where I'm going so I can feel safe and secure within myself. And there's no being safe and secure because the future, no one knows what's coming. People may say they do, but they don't. We can maybe somewhat predict, but usually it's not something you need to pay attention to. So this confusion about, or feeling like I have no direction, it's okay. You don't need a direction to live life. You don't have to set a step-by-step plan for the next 500 years. You just have to live life. And there will be a pressure in your mind because our minds want security, certainty, control. It comes from a good place. The mind wants to make sure we survive. And it wants to figure things out. But there comes a point when you have to start just paying attention to what kind of patterns and what kind of stories your mind is running so you don't get caught up in them. Because when you're caught up in this story of, I have no direction, it can lead you down a dark path. Because you feel like, okay, well, I have no direction, which means I'm not good enough because everyone else I see, they're living their lives. It looks great. They know where they're going, which means I'm bad. I shouldn't even be here. I'm not worthy because I don't know. I haven't figured this out. But the thing is, you're probably more honest than most people. Because while others may seem like they know where they're going, that's just something they've created internally. You probably know a lot of people that seem certain about a certain outcome, and then it didn't happen. That's just something we create internally, that sense of security and confidence. So I can be confident about something going well, and then it doesn't. What happened? Life happened. You don't need a direction in life to live life. You just need to live life one step at a time. It's kind of like walking in a fog. You have a dense fog. You can only see a few feet or a meter in front of you. And in order to see more, you have to move forward. As you take one step, you see more. You take 3 steps. You see things you've never seen before. You have ideas. You have opportunities. You grow as a person. You begin to enjoy life because you realize you don't need certainty. You don't need a direction. You simply have to live life in this moment. And to begin to notice your mind. When your mind pulls you away from the present moment, it pulls you into the past of what happened, what went wrong, why are things so bad. It pulls you into the future of, I need to know. Otherwise, bad things will happen. It pulls you into opinions of, well, my parents say this, my friends think this, society, this guy, the article. And you don't need any of that. All that's needed is this anchoring into the present moment, being aware of your patterns and habits and fear and your mind, not trying to get rid of anything, not trying to replace negative thoughts with positive ones. Just paying attention. What's going on? How am I creating this? I'm not saying you're pulling this to you. I'm saying internally. How is this being created? What thought comes up? What story comes up? What's the internal dialogue? Just to pay attention to that. And then, as you're doing that, to pay attention to any judgment. Any saying to yourself that you're bad, you can't figure this out, something is wrong. To just pay attention. You don't have to touch any of those thoughts. You can let them be. You can let the mind dance its dance. And you can relax. And it may take time. It doesn't matter. We have these habits of thinking and believing every thought we have. It may take time until they unravel, and that's okay. It's okay to feel down. It's okay to feel up. It's okay to feel neutral. It's okay to not know where you're going. It's okay to know where you're going. It's all a part of living life. Having no direction is not a problem. It's an adventure. It's a time to explore. If you don't know where you're going, you simply notice what's interesting to me right now. At least that's what I do. I've never really known where I'm going. And the moments I've thought, okay, I know I'm going to go there, didn't turn out that way. But I realized that I don't have to know. I simply notice what feels magnetic to me, what's interesting to me. And right in this moment, what's interesting is recording this video. It's very mundane, very simple, not like you may hear in other places where it's all about finding something, finding a purpose or passion, and then everything will be okay. It's more mundane, more simple. Passion to me is simply interest, excitement, energy, which is why I talk about it. But it's just a label, which is why I talk about many other things. I'm not attached to one thing, one label. I have a book on finding your passion, which is useful. Many people have found it incredibly useful. But if it's not useful to you, then I say try something else. Because what matters is that you live your life your way and you enjoy your life. It's not about forcing a certain perspective or view of life. All of that's irrelevant because it just comes down to you. Your adventure. That's your life. No direction, no problem. If someone says you need to figure this out, no you don't. It'll figure itself out when the time is right. You don't have to do anything. The way I see it is life happens naturally. Things come to me. My body responds with energy, interest, excitement. And I take a step in that direction. It may not lead anywhere, or it may lead somewhere. I don't know. Doesn't matter. So, just to give you an example of a few years ago, I went through something you could call, some people call depression, some people call a dark night of the soul. I meditate a lot, so maybe that led to it. But life became meaningless, pointless. And things I enjoyed in the past fell away. Things in my business disappeared. And it was a problem for a bit. It was anguish, misery. But then, as I became more and more present with simply what was happening, I came out of it. I didn't have a direction going in, or I did have some sense of where I was going. Things felt good, but then when I was in it, everything disappeared. No sense of direction, no sense of anything, no sense of, I couldn't hold on to anything, no hope of anything. But I simply stayed with it, didn't run away from my feelings. I stayed with it, and I paid attention to what was interesting to me. I watched movies, I took breaks, I rested, my mind went crazy. It wanted to force something so it could have security and certainty. The pressure was there in my mind. But the more I stayed with it, with the patterns of my mind, the more its grip on me fell away, because I saw the, you could say, insanity of the mind, the patterns, the thought loops, the stories that never end. I just watched it all, and I said, do what you want, I'll just be here. I'll take things one step at a time and follow what's interesting to me. That's all I can do. I can only do the best with what I have, one step at a time. That's how you live life, one step at a time, in the present moment. And you see what happens, you explore, you make mistakes, you succeed, you laugh, you cry. That's life. You can't control life, you can only live life. So I went through this period, things disappeared, but then they began coming back. Energy returned, hope returned, positivity. And I'm glad I went through it, because that time where everything seemed lost was a blessing in disguise, like most things, because all the bad things in life are usually things we can learn from. And those lessons are something we can use in life, which is why it seems like mistakes help you succeed, and the bad things become the good things. Because the more we live life, the more we realize, or the more we can use our past in a way. Because that time of complete confusion for me became a strength, because I now am much less drawn into my mind. I'm much freer to do what I truly enjoy doing. So if you are confused in life, notice what ideas you have about what life should look like. What are you afraid of? Why are you listening to your mind? And instead of listening to your mind, listen to what's interesting to you, what draws you, what's magnetic, what is life calling you to do? Is it calling you to rest, to relax, but your mind is going crazy? Or is it calling you to read a book, go for a walk, do something else? It's all okay, whatever happens, whatever is going on. We have ideas about what life should look like, where we're supposed to go, but all of those are simply ideas. Life is happening while you're thinking about what should be happening. So instead of getting stuck in your life, in your mind, thinking that not having a direction is a problem, bring your attention to the present moment, to your body, to the sounds around you, the sensations in your body. And live life one step at a time, one day at a time, one moment at a time. That's all that's needed. Not having a direction is not a problem unless you take it seriously. No direction means adventure. It means freedom to explore, to grow. So you can see it both ways. Having a direction can be like shackles around your ankles. It can be a prison, and it can be comfort. So it's all about how you view things. And you don't have to view things the way you do. You don't have to have any view. It doesn't have to be good or bad. You simply live life in this moment. And that's it. Enjoy the journey. It's not going to be what you think. It's going to be what it's going to be.